Sean here again. Today I thought I'd share my memories with you on another Hollywood star that I was lucky enough to spend some time with, and that's the one and only Rock Hudson. Now, Rock Hudson was in town when I met him because he was busy promoting his appearance on Dynasty or Dynasty. He joined the series, as so many big stars did, to try and sort of perk up his career. A lot of people didn't realise how ill Rock Hudson was, and I didn't actually at the time of meeting him. He was very slim, totally different to what you'd expect to imagine Rock Hudson to look like. But again, he turned up at the Shepherd's Bush Empire BBC TV theatre to plug Dynasty because it was shown on, of course, BBC One. So they really wanted people to go out there and plug it. I think ratings were slightly slipping. That's why they brought him in. But what was interesting about Rock, as I say, I spent quite a few hours with him and we became good chums, actually. He was one of these people, he connected very well with you. Now, what was interesting was that he sort of likened his career to that of a pop group, pop star, what we would call a manufactured group actually today. And really what Rock said was that, there were lots of good looking boys in the 1950s that were recruited literally by the studios to try and get teenagers to come back to the cinema because attendances were down, TV was taking off big time. And so consequently what they decided to do was fill it with good looking boys and good-looking girls in the shape of Natalie Wood, Jane Mansfield, Sophia Loren. When you think about that bulk of 1950s people, they were all exceptionally good-looking women and men. And of course, you had Rock, you had Tab Hunter, John Bloomfield. All of these people were just basically picked because they either looked like surfers, they just looked like, new teenagers, men, if you like. And all the women were the women that apparently all you girls wanted to emulate, of course. I don't know who could really take on the mantle of Marilyn Monroe, though. But Rock himself said that he was thrilled just to get the break. He was signed up to Universal. And again, I was lucky enough to, meet Tab Hunter and, of course, people like Tony Curtis years later who backed up this theory that, they weren't really that well paid. The bottom line was Rock said that, he didn't really get much chance to pick your roles. You were told you're going to be in this, you need to work out because you're going to be wearing a bathing costume, or you're going to be by the sea, or whatever it was going to be. And all of these young boys who got picked by a certain agent and were touted round to all the big studios knew what they were doing. But as Rock pointed out, it was very difficult because you weren't a trained actor as such. Rock had had a few sort of bits and pieces in dramatic, sort of small theatres. But he admitted he was learning as he went along. And very quickly, he became a fan favourite. He said that the studios controlled every aspect of his life to the point where, he said you were thrilled, really, because how would you know about getting, staff to come and work at your mansion or, the car that would pick you up? Although he did point out that Universal Studios was kind of known initially for all those big horror films in the 30s. So, as he said, they weren't really that flush with money. So, obviously for him, sometimes he said to save money, he would actually take the bus down to the studios. Can you imagine being on the bus and meeting Rock Hudson? Amazing. But what Rock did let slip was the fact that, he learnt the business. He, at one point, decided he may become an agent himself or a manager because he said that he didn't know how long his career would last. And he was told, even as a man, by about 30, there will be new people coming up. And when you think about it, he was right because although he had that huge success with the late, great Doris Day and all of that sort of stuff, even then, he was then considered to be the elder statesman of the movies because what was coming in then was kitchen sink drama, more realism, all that sort of stuff. So all the big boys of that particular era, when you think about it, Paul Newman, James Dean, sadly, of course, we lost, but all of those names, Robert Wagner, they then seem to be very dated in the 1960s. And Rock was very shrewd about how to move away from that and move into something completely different. We spoke about his success in Macmillan and Wife, which was a big, big favourite, and of course a huge success worldwide for him. Very clever that he owned a little bit of that too. Another little thing he let slip. But he said of his role in Dynasty, he was simply doing it to re-raise his profile and hopefully remind people that he was still alive and possibly still looking for work. Now, Rock Hudson really does remain one of the most all-time favourite movie stars in these nostalgia polls. And when you think about it, when you meet these people and you do talk to them, you can see why. Very clever, very shrewd, and knew exactly what they were selling.